There are 4 golden rules to pass this exam. We don't read key action verbs. So everyone should understand this is 3-hour game.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of Learning Pod, brought to you exclusively by Infinity Learning Space. Today we are here with a very special individual named Mr. Nilantha Weerasinghe, who is a seasoned professional with a rich background in both academics as well as the corporate sector. Mr. Weerasinghe holds over 8 years of experience in advanced audit and assurance subjects and across various professional platforms as well. And he has established himself as a very knowledgeable and dedicated educator. And in addition to his academic pursuits, Mr. Weerasinghe also holds over 12 years of experience in the apparel and professional services industries, where he has led numerous successful corporate restructurings and transformative initiatives. And currently, he serves as the head of process excellence for a global company where he continues to apply his expertise. And his academic credentials are also equally impressive, as he holds a Bachelor of Accountancy and Finance degree, and he also holds a membership with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka as an Associate Chartered Accountant, and he also holds an ACCA membership from the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants in the UK. And furthermore, Mr. Weerasinghe has expanded his skill by obtaining a certification in forensic accounting from the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Sri Lanka. Well, we are here with none other than Mr. Nilantha Weerasinghe. Hello to you, sir. How are you? And thank you for joining us with Learning Pod.
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me here with the Infinite Learning Space.
Yep, thank you very much. The pleasure is all ours to speak to you. Well, Mr. Weerasinghe, we've seen a lot about you, and you hold a lot of experience, and you've been able to gather experience in multiple industries. How has that helped you, and could you take us through that journey as well?
Yeah, good. Soon after my university education, as well as after completing my article period at Audit firm, I joined with one of the largest apparel exporter in Sri Lanka, and I worked for them about 12 years time. During that period, I was exposed to different areas of the business, like business process compliance and internal auditing, and business process re-engineering and corporate financial reporting. So with all this experience, I believe it gave me a good experience to teach this subject very efficient manner during last 8 years period to the student. After 12 years time, I recently joined with another company, which is a global company, as head of process excellence. There also, I'm always trying to re-engineer processes, apply this knowledge, and take that knowledge to, educate our students in chartered journey.
Wonderful. And also, speaking about educating students, how has that journey been? How has the lecturing experience been for you?
I started lecturing to see students soon after completing my chartered exams, somewhere in 2014. During that time until this moment, I was able to create a lot of chartered accountants to this country by lecturing towards this subject. One thing I wanted to tell you before I move to your next questions, most of the students believe this subject as very difficult subject. Of course, when we look at chartered journey, it's basically financial reporting and auditing. But there's industry norm. Even before you enter into this chartered journey, students think, oh, auditing is one of the difficult subject, and I have to do 2-3 times to get this subject through or done, complete, which is completely wrong. So if you want to become a chartered accountant, you have to remove that norm, or you have to remove that mindset and look at this subject with fresh mindset. Then only I believe you will be able to get this subject, or you will be able to pass this subject without any fear. Otherwise, as industry norm says, you have to do this subject 2-3 times. So that's my first advice to all students who are learning from me or who are learning this subject. Don't think this subject as very difficult subject. We have a way of teaching you guys or guiding you guys very effective manner to remove that fear.
Yeah. Well, that is very true. And speaking about how a lot of people think that it's very difficult, some students also think that since, talking about CL01, they think that since it's a theoretical subject, sometimes they can self-study. But sometimes it's not always the case, because there's some things that are missing when they self-study. So how exactly do you feel that Infinity Learning Space could help them further when teaching through the platform?
Yeah. First of all, this subject is not a theoretical subject for me. Most of the students read this subject as a theoretical subject. But let me take simple example. There is auditing standard called SLAUS 315, which explains to identify and assess risk of material misstatements through understanding the business and its environment. That is one of the lengthy, complex, important auditing standard in this journey. If I compare all auditing standard, that is the golden standard, I would say. Without that standard, there is no auditing. If someone is saying it is theoretical standard or it's full with theory, it's completely wrong. Because standard name itself, I took only one simple example. Standard want students to identify and assess the risk, which is not theory. Not only that, identify and assess risk of material misstatement, meaning having fraud or errors. How? Through understanding the business. So standard wants students to understand the business, which is not theory. How do you understand? There are 6 areas of understanding. Standard is guiding you. So it's purely an application, not theory. So answer to your question, how Infinity Space, learning space, guides students in this online platform to get this knowledge or to pass this subject very effective manner. Of course, you will agree with me, the most effective way of learning is physical interaction. So then I can see students' facial indications. I can assess whether I am teaching fast or should I explain same topic 2-3 times until students get familiar. But when it's come to online platform, I can't see their faces. So what we should make sure when it's come to a subject like this, which is full with application, you have to give clear quality content through the videos, number one. And second thing, the infrastructure also should be very much effective and efficient. If you look at post-COVID era, most of the companies, they work from home. Especially IT companies, almost all employees, they work from home. So then how we can ask our students to come to a physical class and study during entire weekends? So they can't plan anything during weekends. So those days, we didn't have any option. But right now, there are multiple ways of learning, right? Multiple avenues. So for me, actually, even though physical classes are very much effective, we should be able to find not effective, efficient way of learning. I think with the infrastructure that we have in our institute and the quality of the content, we can deliver this subject with effective manner, efficient manner to students.
Absolutely. And since you spoke a little bit about the application as well, I'm just going to jump into asking, because there are students who know the accounting standards, the auditing standards. They know the value of, testing assertions and of an audit report, but they don't always get through. Like we spoke about this before as well. But why? What do you think they're doing wrong in terms of application? Are they not applying it correct? Is that why they're not getting through?
When it's come to exam?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a very good question. I have so many friends. They are very good at corporate world, but they can't pass this exam. There's one reason that I have observed during my 10 years of lecturing journey. All students should understand this subject is having a logical way of learning. If someone is jumping from middle and start digging or deep dive in this subject, it's useless. Because the subject arranged in a logical flow, starting from the planning. There are a set of standards explain how do you plan audit properly. There you have overall audit strategy, audit plan, audit procedures, assessing risk, responding to risk, then gathering audit evidence. Then based on gathered audit evidence, you will come to a conclusion. So there are three things, three pillars basically: planning, evidence gathering, and reporting. So you can't go into reporting without having proper understanding about audit planning, or else you can't jump into audit evidence related standard without understanding the way of planning. So there's a logical way of studying. If you break that logical flow, passing this exam is not a simple thing. It is very difficult, if so. But as far as you follow this logical flow, handling exam question is not a difficult thing. Let me take simple example. Question number 6 and 7 of this paper. Question number 6 also you are getting 20 marks. Question number 7 also you are getting 20 marks. So without answering to those two questions, you can't pass this exam because it's 40 marks out of 100. But students, since they have good corporate experience, maybe working for organization, working for audit firms, they are hurried to start writing answers to past paper, answer to the questions. But they don't understand what examiner's real requirement. So that is also one of the key reasons to fail this subject multiple times. If you understand question properly, if you follow logical or learning flow, students can easily pick examiner want me to answer to planning related question. Examiner is expecting from me reporting related matter. Examiner want me to handle audit evidence related matter. So then I can easily pick up from which standard, from which part of the study pack or subject should I use to handle this exam question. So if you are in that frame, passing this exam is not a magic for me.
Interesting. And also, okay, so since we spoke about that, how there's this particular structure that they need to follow, I believe that would also help them in their practical experience as well, right? Because everything that you mentioned about from planning to the final stage of it, a lot of our students actually go through when they're at audit firms, because most of our students are either at an audit firm, or they've been at an audit firm, or they're planning to be in an audit firm. So do you think this this subject would also help in their practical experience?
Of course, definitely. Again, so since I have worked for few companies, since I have worked and I'm working for corporate world, I have worked with external auditors and still I am working with them. So one thing I have observed is that they come and start audit by referring to the last audit file. They take last audit file and let's say supervisor is allocating them to audit property, plant and equipment. So they start calculating depreciation, they start verifying supporting documents for additions. So some traditional procedures. But this subject is teaching you to approach based on the risk profile of the business. When it's come to auditing, it's called risk-based approach. But no, I don't know for that. This is what I have experienced. Most of the audit trainees, most of the auditors, they don't assess risk properly. Auditing standard required you to assess risk first. That's what SLA 315 standard explain you. Identify and assess risk of material misstatement through understanding the business. That's what I explained earlier also. Without doing that risk assessment, if you are starting audit, you will never ever identify real risk relating to the business. Good simple example I'll take. Let's say when you assess, so those who are watching this video and those who have audited property, plant and equipment, that is one of the familiar asset or family area for all of us. That's why I'm taking that as an example. Think, have you approached audit property, plant and equipment in this approach? Let's say if you take FAR, fixed asset register, have you ever evaluated aging of those assets? Let's say you have fully depreciated assets. 50% of the assets are fully depreciated. So that is one of the common issue in apparel industry. So most of the sewing machines are now fully depreciated. Fully depreciated means definitely you will incur repair cost because those are very old assets. Or else major components you have to replace. So then auditor should think, major repairs, major replacement, then what should be the accounting treatment? If it is major replacement, it should be capitalized. If it is major repair, that should be charged to P&L. So then auditor should go and review what? Repair and maintenance account to see whether major replacements are being capitalized or charged to P&L. But I don't think our audit staff or more any auditor look into audit when they audit property, plant and equipment, I don't think they are following this approach. I'm not blaming to auditors, but most of them. But that should be the right way of approaching to audit. That's what standard, that's what this syllabus, that's what this subject is guiding to the students.
Okay. Yeah, so that's very interesting because that means CL1 is not, even though the name says Advanced Audit and Assurance, it's not purely audit as mentioned by you, which means that there are also accounting standards, auditing standards, and many other reference materials that our students would need to refer to in addition to the study text, right? Could you take us through a few of the reference materials that our students should ideally be looking at?
Yeah. First of all, we should be mindful. This is 6 months game maximum. So during this 6 months time, you have to study what? If you are studying properly, all auditing standard, they are in auditing standard book. That is one study material. Second, what are you auditing? Technically, you are auditing financial statement assertions. සිංහලෙන් කියන මූල්‍ය ප්‍රකාශන සැදවුම්, meaning transaction, account balances, presentation, disclosures, meaning financial statement basically. So then you should have fair understanding about accounting standard. So then you have to refer accounting standard. So for that you have accounting standard book, two materials. Then Sri Lanka standard on quality controls to audit for audit quality. Then code of ethics and your study pack. There are 5 study materials. But the problem is within 6 months time, do you have time to go through all these study materials? No, which is very difficult for students to go through. So what we can do, and that is what we are planning to do at this institute through Infinity Learning Space, we are going to reduce some of the burden that students are having right now. They have to play with those study materials. Keep those study materials for the time being aside. What I can do for students, there are 20 auditing standard, 20 plus auditing standard. We should be able to take each and every standard into one conceptual visualization. One picture. It can be a table, it can be a diagram, it can be some sort of visualization. One picture. So that is my duty, is to do that conceptualization in a logical manner and explain that to the students. So then all these study materials, students can still refer together with that conceptual diagram, visualization. So then it is easy for them to go through those study material very quickly with that concept. So that's what we can do for the students. Otherwise, learning, going through those study material within this shorter period of time is not a practical solution for students.
Yeah, definitely not easy. And also, speaking about examinations, preparing for examinations, some of the comments that were mentioned in the examiner's comments in the June 2024 examiner's comments document was that there were, or rather that students were rather they had not answered the exam question properly because they may be lacking in skills or rather they lacked skills on exam techniques. Is there, or what are the key highlights, or what are the key techniques that students should ideally have when sitting for an exam?
Yeah. For me, there are 4 golden rules to pass this exam. If you go Google, you will never find this as an answer. So if you refer to study pack, this is not there in the study pack also. There are 4 rules to pass this subject. Number 1, I already explained to you. Students should be able to have conceptual visualization for each and every topic, including all the auditing standard. Number one page, each topic into one page. Second thing, students should be able to apply one simple example to that concept. Let's say audit evidence, let's say response to assess risk. So how do we respond? One example you should be able to apply to that conceptual summary. Number two is that you have a concept, one picture, one visualization, then you insert example for that. Number three, concept and example is not enough. You must be able to write answers to model papers, past papers, because writing is the secret behind passing this exam. A lot of students do this mistake. What they do? They download these videos or they buy these videos and watch 2-3 times, and after that they download past papers and suggested solutions also there. They read 2-3 times and go for the and sit for the exam. Then you will end up with fail mark less than 50. You will never pass this exam if you don't have proper writing skill. I'm telling this to students. The secret behind passing this exam is writing. And fourth one is the self-confidence. Those are the 4 golden rules. Number 1, conceptualization, each and every topic. Number 2, having examples. Number 3, experience in writing past papers, model papers. And fourth one, self-confidence. Fourth one, nothing to do. When you have concept in your hand, when you have proper examples, when you have proper practice in writing answers to past papers, automatically your self-confidence will increase. My simple advice to students, after doing all these things, if you don't have self-confidence, don't go for the exam. Download a movie from Netflix and watch it. So that will give some sort of relief to you rather than suffering after writing exams if you don't have self-confidence. Answer to examiners point. Another important thing that students should understand, don't blame Chartered Institute saying that paper is difficult. No, paper is very simple always. The biggest mistake that we do in our exam is we don't read key action verbs. Each and every question is having bold word saying explain, analyze, or list down, or demonstrate. So we don't understand examiner's real requirement. So what students should understand, this is not an interview with the examiner. If it is face-to-face discussion, I can explain examiner my answer when he is asking questions. If he is not agreeing, I can explain multiple times until he is satisfied. Here, you have to write answers to the point to satisfy your examiner in first attempt. There is no second chance. So, understanding real requirement and answering to the keyword of the question is the secret behind passing this exam. So, you can't do it if you don't have practice in writing answers to model papers, past papers. Those who are reading suggested solutions, you will end up with definitely fail mark. So that's the secret.
Okay, that's very interesting. And also with that, I also want to pose my final question to you, which would be on time management, since you mentioned about writing, because like you mentioned, there most of the students need to develop or excel in writing, but some students during the exam, they could either be writing essays or like pages and pages for one answer, or they could not write at all, or they'll be putting like bullet points and all that. So how important is time management in a subject like CL1, and to make sure that they write a very strong answer for the examiners, for their as a result, to get a result out of it, how important is time management?
So everyone should understand this is 3-hour game, right? You can be, let's say you may have good knowledge about all the standards, all the accounting standard, all the auditing standard, but it doesn't matter if you cannot manage all these 7 questions within 3 hours time. Good thing is that I don't know whether students are notice this thing or not. In each and every question, examiner has mentioned the maximum time that you should spend for that particular question. Question number 6 and 7 is the part C of the paper. So then they said, I can't remember exactly, 72 minutes or 75 minutes. Likewise, for each and every question, examiner is telling student, you have to invest this much of time for this particular question. So then it's all about planning. So that's why you asked a good question few minutes before. There are students who can perform really good audit in their practical world when they audit corporate companies, but they can't pass this exam. One reason is what? They have good knowledge and they are trying to demonstrate that knowledge by taking overtime. So then they are missing some other questions. So don't do that. How do we manage time? The first thing, pay attention to keyword. Understand the requirement. Before I come to that, I'll tell you this. This is also a very important point. When we take the paper to our hand, you are trying to start writing quickly because I have 3 hours time. No. Invest some quality time to read the paper and identify what questions are easy for you. Sometimes question number 5, let's say, is very difficult. You have never seen that question in past paper, so you haven't studied that part. Then forget about it. If you don't know. Then when it's come to question number 6 and 7, which is very familiar, you can invest some good time, given time, and start answer on that question first. So likewise, you have to plan, you have to invest some time, maybe first 15 to 20 minutes to plan which question I'm going to pick first. Then what is my second choice? How much time I'm going to allocate for that particular question? So don't do that big calculations and 25 minutes for this and another 10 minutes for this part. Not like that, but it's a simple plan. If you plan it properly, managing this 3-hour game is not a difficult thing. So my first advice to students, number 1, read and understand real requirement of the examiner. Don't be hurried to start writing, and prioritize your answer, your writing order. Question number 6, 7 or 5 to likewise. There's no requirement for you to write from 1st to 7, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. You can pick easy questions first and complete it. Then you can move to other questions. That's how you should manage your time. Otherwise, if you select difficult questions, you will stuck in the middle. So then you can't handle easy questions. Most important thing, there are 10 MCQ questions. Handling MCQ questions, students think that it is very easy. So I can keep those 10 questions to the latter part of the paper. First I'll write all other questions and come back to that area. No. MCQ questions are not that easy. If you are thinking MCQ is very easy for me to pick whatever the answer, but it is not easy to select the right answer, because one answer is almost similar to another answer. Sometimes all 4 answers are almost equal. One word, maybe one phase of one answer will make the difference. So then it requires some more thinking time to pick the right answer out of 4 answers. So don't do that mistake. You keep 10-20 minutes for MCQ. It's 20 marks. So that's what I'm saying. Practice more MCQ questions. So then you will be familiar how to select right answers. Otherwise, students are MCQ questions. I don't want to practice. There are 10 questions. I can select whatever the answer. And you keep 10 minutes for that. Wrong. It's all about planning. But you can't plan that at the exam without planning that by practicing model papers and past papers. That's why I'm saying there are 3 things. Writing is the secret behind passing this exam. When you write more questions, when you write more model papers, you can manage time. Then you will learn how to plan my 3-hour game. There is no luck in passing this exam. Some people say you should be lucky enough to pass charter. No, you can't. If it is full MCQ paper, yes, to a certain level I can say, right, I'm lucky to pass this exam, because even if you close your eyes and select some answers, there is a probability of selecting right answers. If it is full MCQ, here it's writing. Only 10 questions are MCQ. When there are 6 questions to write, how your lucky number give you a chance to pass this exam? No, it's purely planning, writing, and writing will give you good preparation to manage your time. That's how you can pass this exam.
Wow, okay, that sounds very, very interesting. I think a lot of our students will have more questions for you in the future as well. But for the moment, thank you so much for joining us today, and for giving us such an insightful, thought-provoking answer for each of the questions that we had for you. Thank you so much, Mr. Weerasinghe, for joining us. It's been a true pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me here, and we will try to deliver some good deliverables to the students through this Infinity Learning Space platform.
And we have no doubt in it. Thank you so much once again. Well, that is all from the 3rd episode of Learning Pod. Stay tuned with Infinity Learning Space as we bring you more episode with the Learning Pod.
Infinity Space.